Are we going to continue to see home prices drop in San Francisco, or is 2025 going to be the year where this housing market finally rebounds and prices start going up? Because you can see across the San Francisco metro, home values are down 7.6% over the last 2 years. And in San Francisco County, they're down by 15% the last 2 years. The reason the prices in San Francisco have dropped over the last 2 years is because of an outbound migration during the pandemic combined with a downturn in tech to go along with mortgage rates now at 7%. That cocktail pushed prices down. However, the values in San Francisco metro are still extremely expensive. You can see in San Francisco County, the typical home value is 1.3 million. In Alameda, it's 1.1 million. And in San Mateo County, it's an astounding 1.6 million to just buy the typical house. To get something halfway decent, you actually got to pay well over $2 million. And so 10% declines in value, 5% declines in value, 15% declines in value. They're not moving the needle a lot actually for prospective buyers in the Bay Area, because if you are a buyer in the Bay Area, you need to have a lot of money. The salary to afford a house in San Francisco required to buy a house is actually well over $300,000. If you're not making more than 300,000, it's really difficult to afford a home. And actually, it's a hair under 300. So you need $299,000 for your median household income in the San Francisco metro to be able to afford the typical mortgage payment for the typical house at 7% mortgage rates at 30% of your income. That's how we come up with that calculation. Now you can see that, California, Northern California is unique in how expensive it is, and that San Jose is actually even more expensive. So in San Jose, you need to make 413,000 in Santa Clara County to be able to afford a house. San Francisco comes in fifth at 299,000, and really all of the cities here in the top are either in Northern California or there's some type of vacation destination like Martha's Vineyard or Jackson Hole, Wyoming. But one trend that I think is really interesting is what's going on in San Francisco County, particularly downtown San Francisco. There's a legitimate crash playing out in this housing market. Home values have dropped as much as 20% in some of the zip codes in downtown San Francisco over the last 2 years. And in some cases, condos in San Francisco are now selling for less than they did 7 to 8 years ago. Like, take a look at this one bed, one bath condo I found in Soma. It's in the Soma neighborhood of San Francisco. It's for 498,000. This is a decent looking small condo, the type of condo you would see in a big international city like San Francisco or New York or Boston. It's for 960 a foot, which is still very expensive. However, you can see Zillow is saying that the value has gone down 22% in the last 10 years, with the current owner buying it for 651 in 2019 and now selling it for 498. So the current owner is taking a $153,000 loss from what they bought it for. Here's another one, everyone. Another one bed, one bath condo. Actually looks pretty nice, pretty modern. The current owner bought it for 720,000 in 2018, and now it's listed on the market for 599,000. So they're taking a $120,000 loss on this condo. And here's another one, a one bed, one bath, 730 square feet, where they bought for 650 in 2017, and now they're selling it for 510, $140,000 loss. And there's obvious reasons why prices in San Francisco are going down. The city suffered a huge exodus during the pandemic. Remote work really came at a detriment to San Francisco since it's so dominated by the tech industry. A lot of people took their newfound freedom for remote work to leave and go to more affordable states like Texas and Tennessee. We also saw a downturn in the technology sector, which is still playing out today. Entering 2025, the demand to hire software developers across America has plummeted, which is hurting San Francisco's economy. And the result is declining home prices all across downtown. You can see here on Reventure App, we're looking at the change in home values in downtown San Francisco over the last 2.5 years. And it's 19% in Soma, 18% in Richmond District, 18% in the Noe Valley. I mean, it's just a bloodbath here in downtown San Francisco. It's also pretty bad in Oakland, everyone. Values in Oakland are down anywhere from 15 to 20% over the last 2 years. As we zoom out kind of on the San Francisco metro, you could see that the heavy losses are here in urban Oakland, urban San Francisco. And then, some of the smaller declines are out in the more suburban areas of the East Bay. Values have declined 5%, 8%. Actually, the one area where they've gone up over the last 2 years is Fremont in southern Alameda County. Values are actually up by 3% over the last 2 years. So there's some definite regional variation and regional differences going on. And I think for you as a San Francisco home buyer, you have to ask yourself, is now the bottom? Are we at the bottom of this downturn? Or do prices still have further to fall? Because values have already dropped by quite a bit. Are they going to drop by more in 2025? Well, to help you answer that question for San Francisco as well as for San Jose, we're going to talk about Santa Clara County in a second. I'm going to reveal to you my home price forecasts for these areas for 2025. And these forecasts are built off looking at the underlying data in the market on inventory, price cuts, days on the market, and recent appreciation trends. We crunch the data here at Reventure App and we spit out a score which helps kind of forecast where the market is heading into the future. So let's see what these scores are saying for the Bay Area. And you can see overall, the entire San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley metro, which stretches up into Marin County to the north, has a score of 45 out of 100. Now, a 45 out of 100 price forecast score is below average, indicating slight downward tilt, although now we're saying that prices are going to be a bit more stable here. So we're saying in 2025, in the broader area, slight downward tilt in prices. There's some downward pressure on the market, but you can see it's not as bad as it was 2 years ago when this region scored 38 out of 100. Now we're at around a 45. It's stabilizing at slightly below average, indicating it wouldn't be surprising if prices dropped a bit more in 2025. However, if you look at the county view, there's big differences by county. You can see we got Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara down here. We have some differences by county that you need to be paying attention to in these forecasts, as well as by zip code. So certain zip codes are still heavily in a downturn. Like in Oakland, we have some zip codes at a 25 out of 100. I mean, whew, boy, look at this, 94610 in Alameda County. This was a huge seller's market up until the pandemic and is now a massive buyer's market. In every single category, we're just seeing really low scores indicating downward price pressure. If you see scores like this in your area, it's indicative of more declines coming. Conversely, if we go more to southern Alameda County, we got Hayward here, Fremont, we actually have positive scores above a 50. And so this shows the importance of understanding the regional variation and the score for your zip code. Similar thing going on in Santa Clara County as well. Now, we do have to talk about one elephant in the room here with San Francisco, and that's actually what's happening with the technology industry in America, because San Francisco and San Jose's housing market is inextricably linked to the tech sector. The tech sector dominates the Bay Area economy. It's the #1 innovation capital of the world. There's huge amounts of money that flows into the Bay Area because of technology companies. And right now, the big trend is AI. Obviously, OpenAI, headquartered in downtown San Francisco in the Mission District, they are the preeminent force in driving technological change right now. They have over $100 billion valuation. And now there's all these AI startups moving to San Francisco and being founded in San Francisco. So some of that could have a positive benefit on the housing market in the intermediate term over the next couple years. So we're seeing that AI boom. However, on the flip side, the demand to hire people in tech has plummeted. Many tech startups are now employing as many as 50% fewer workers than they did 5 years ago due to advances in AI. So it's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of new startups and a lot of new companies in San Francisco in AI that are worth a lot of money and attracting a lot of capital. But some of them are employing half the amount of people they would have 5 years ago due to that AI. And the big thing that scares me here is the job postings on Indeed for software developers. So this is a really interesting index that Indeed provides. The job postings index for software developers, before the pandemic, it was 100. That was the baseline. It then went up to 225 in 2022. So the demand to hire software developers more than doubled during the pandemic, but has since collapsed by 70%. The index is now down to 67, meaning that there's actually 33% fewer job postings for software developers today compared to before the pandemic. And so this graph to me is problematic for the San Francisco economy and housing market. Additionally, the job postings index for the entire metro, San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, follows the same trend. It went up to around 140 during the pandemic, and now it's down to 67. And even in San Jose, Sunnyvale, and Santa Clara, it's the same trend. Job postings went up during 2022 and they have since collapsed and they have not recovered. So I think there's definitely a labor market weakness occurring throughout the Bay Area that certainly is going to continue to have some negative impact on the rental market. The rents have dropped by quite a bit in the Bay Area over the last 3 or 4 years. They could also have an impact on the housing market, because if there aren't as many software developers making $250,000, $300,000, then there's going to be fewer people on the margins to buy a house. However, we'll have to see how this trends in 2025. There's still a lot of questions about the economy. There's still a lot of questions about what's going to happen in the tech sector. Are we going to see the big tech bubble burst? Or are we going to see tech stocks continue to appreciate? We don't know the answers to those questions, but the good news is if you're a home buyer and you want to make a more educated decision about the market and cut through the uncertainty, all you got to do is just look at the data for your area. One of my favorite metrics to look at is just the inventory levels. So in San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley Metro, we're now up to 5,400 homes on the market. That's the second highest level in 7 years, indicating that there's still softness in the market, right? If the inventory is high than the long-term norm, there's still softness in the market. The days on the market, the median days on the market is 51 days. That's the highest level in 7 years. And so if you're ever confused about what's going on as a home buyer in the Bay Area or any other part of California, go to Reventure App, www.reventure.app, and just look at some of these data points, days on the market, price cut rate, inventory, and then also check out our home price forecast. We have this forecast actually for every city, county, and zip code in America, forecasting where prices are heading in the next year based on the underlying data. This forecast is really valuable for you guys to have a greater insight into the trend in prices. It's not a perfect score, but it's actually done a pretty good job over the last couple of years at predicting future price growth. You can actually see from 2023 to 2024, the Reventure App price forecast predicted future price growth at 74% accuracy across large metros in America. So the lower the score was, the more that values went down. The higher the score was, the more that values went up in the future. So this score is some of the best data that you can find in terms of understanding the future direction of the market. Access it under a premium plan at Reventure App. The cost is $39 a month or $399 a year, which gets you a 15% discount on that annual plan. I would recommend actually that a lot of you check out that annual pass. You can see it knocks down the monthly rate from $39 to $33 a month, especially if you know you're going to be in the market for the next 5, 6, 7, or 8 months. It's a good value. Until next time, this is Nick from Reventure App. Talk to you later.